So part of our responsibility, a big part of our responsibility, is to step back and say, some things we can explain, Stacy. Some things we can't explain. But we know this. There is healing going on.
You know, and here's just a little story. I took Ty in because he was having some digestive issues. He was, all of a sudden, he would get, like, nauseous after we'd eat supper. Not after breakfast, not after lunch. No other time, just after we'd eat supper. And it would be, like, really painful. Took him to the doctor. Doctor's, like, probably constipated. Give him some laxatives. Okay. So kid was pooping, like, 4 times a day. Still feeling nauseous, not feeling well. So I took him up there. Belle did a body talk. And went through this whole list of things. And it was crazy, some of the things that were coming up. But one of the things was Greg's tie. Not Greg's tie as in son. But Greg's tie is in his necktie. And we had no idea what it meant. But I have to tell you this. After that, Ty has not had any other digestive issues since then. He's been just fine. And we still do the baking soda and water, you know, occasionally. Just, you know, I'll put in their water bottle before they go out to do activities or something like that. But we're not reliant on it. And it's better than the alternative. We probably would have went through a barrage of tests as to why in the hell Ty is nauseous for no apparent reason. Except that had something to do with Greg's tie.
And how old is Ty now?
Ty is going to be 8.
I'd like to say something about children.
Yeah.
Children are so easy to work with.
They are.
They have not established the filters. They have not established the barriers.
No, they are free little animals, aren't they?
Oh, and they're...
I'm going to jump in because there still are some filters, but not as many.
Not as many. As I said, they don't have as many.
And sometimes when we work with toddlers, we also do something we call distance session.
That's right.
Or the toddler can move around in the room, and we can still do a session by using the mom or dad as a surrogate. So in case you have a kid that can't lay still, we can still work on.
Yeah, because I've seen you guys work on, like, small babies moving around, and I've seen you work on, like you said, toddlers, really rambunctious, 1.5, 2-year-olds who they don't want to sit on a doctor's table. In a quiet room.
Interesting about the toddlers, interesting about the babies, is that some of these issues, some of these filters, as you said, Tone-Lise, could also be caused in the womb. Yeah. It could be caused on conception. And these things can be brought up. These things still affect your consciousness.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Also, those distance sessions are not just limited to children. Limited to toddlers. They can be done on anyone. If anybody recalls, the reason why we have so much water is because we had so much snow this winter.
Yes.
I had several clients that had planned on coming from out of town, tried to make their appointments, couldn't because of weather, and all of a sudden we were able to take care of a distance session.
Right.
Distance sessions has to do with quantum physics. This is where I finally understood
this is like
quantum.
Crazy. Yeah, this is crazy.
Quantum physics.
That was not in my quantum physics monthly that I received, so I'm not quite sure how this all works.
Well, we have an excellent explanation of distance sessions on the website, www.bodytalk4u.com.
Okay.
That really helps you to understand. It's not out there. It's not voodoo. It's not anything. It is part of how we relate to each other. Everything in the universe relating to each other, relying on each other.
And I have to say, when I did my first one,
and
that was actually with somebody I had worked with before a little bit and knew, and it was so clear to me that her personality came through, that it was her I was working on. It's just
crazy.
I mean, this process for both Belle and I, it's very humbling.
Yeah.
And it stretches us every time. It stretches us.
And it's fascinating. There is no boredom at all. It's kind of like live radio. There's never anything
always
exactly
something going
the same.
on. Yeah.
And the nice part about it also is everybody is unique. Therefore, no 2 sessions are ever the same. We just do not know what is going to come up.
Which is great because with a lot of traditional medicine, which we're not saying like don't go to the doctor anymore, but with traditional medicine, you get a pill, you get a treatment, and everybody's so different. It's hard to say that one thing's going to work for everybody.
We also have this preconceived idea. You talk about a filter that the doctors are going to fix everything, that they know everything. There's no possible way. I feel so sorry for doctors. Yeah. We have them in places that they shouldn't be, and they're trying as hard as they can to do what they know best to do. What we do is complement that.
Yeah.
We take you a step further and say, come in and let's at least look for the underlying cause. Unfortunately, they don't have time anymore to look for underlying causes.
No, they have to get patients in and out. So how long is an average body talk session with you guys?
I would say, we always schedule an hour, but usually the session itself will last from 30 to 40 minutes, roughly. It varies.
The first couple sessions might be a little bit longer. Yeah.
Or shorter, depending how receptive you are.
That's true. Maybe your body's like, this is not going to happen.
Or it's what we're doing. We're giving your brain and nervous system things to work with, things to balance. So it may, after a few links, it says, okay, I'll work on this. We need a break now.
Yeah, I'm saturated. I'm saturated right now, and I need some downloading time.
Yeah.
And do we want it
it's
to
like
hurry
a disc
up?
cleanup. You got to give it a minute to fix itself.
But the reason the first one, usually we go the full hour because we like to explain a little more that first session.
Very good.
And very simply done, too, as we do the session, there could come up different formulas. We call them formulas. There we go with this left brain again, if you're talking mathematics. and the formulas are balanced, and they're balanced by a very simple method of just tapping. We touch you just on tapping the brain being the central part of who you are, the brain being that mind that's going to be tricking you. It's waking up the brain, saying something new is happening. And then we just tap you gently on the heart. The heart is your storing place. If you remember from grade school, you learned a poem by heart.
By heart, yeah.
And there's the best example. If you were to introduce yourself and say, I am Stacy, you would never touch your head and say, I am Stacy.
Right.
Touch your heart.
You touch your chest, and you touch your heart.
And say, I am Stacy.
Now, real quickly, too, just in case we run, because there's two things we still want to talk about today. You guys have seminars coming up, so we need to talk about that. But then also, let's talk about more specifically flood victims. People that have been, not even victims, but people who have families affected, who have friends affected. Flood has caused a lot of stress. How can you help people?
I'm amazed. We have quite a few that come into us with anxiety and stress issues. And I'm amazed sometimes how fast body talk can calm them down. And part of it, again, is restoring balance, restoring communication, addressing what we have triggered. Sometimes we have to go back in time, and maybe this stress they're dealing with now is felt so strongly because it triggered an old stress. So sometimes we need to balance and deal with an old charged memory from when they were a kid, and that can help.
I think that when it comes to a very traumatic time like we are having right now, we just need to be reminded that we can breathe, that you can take a 10-second pause.
Yeah.
Because, Stacy, I think you can identify with this. There were some times when you didn't even think you could pause for 10 seconds.
I think there were some times where I just stopped breathing.
Stop breathing. Every time you take a breath in, the brain is scanning your whole entire body. You're taking in what is good for you. Every time you exhale, the brain is saying, I know what I need to work on. You're letting go of what does not service you, what you do not need. What Body Talk does is give you an hour of, maybe we could say, of some peace, of just slowing down. And then when you have that
it's almost like an involuntary meditation.
and I hate, and that's a good.
It is, because a lot of people I can't sit and meditate. My brain runs around too fast. But Body Talk is the only time where I actually sit and I slow down.
Right.
And it works for me then.
And it's can I say it? It's forced on you. If you are lying on that treatment table, it is forced on you, and we're not going to let you go. I'm not going to say it sounds so.
We strap you down.
No, we're not going to strap you down, but you get permission to start the session. You get permission to end the session, and we're going to do everything we can in between those 2 points.
Right.
So we would be helping you just restore some normalcy. And even if it's just a few seconds of it.
Here's what a lot of people that I've talked to, now that it's been a couple weeks and we all just sort of get a chance to look back on things. Had some dinner with some of my neighbors last Saturday. We sat down and we just sort of shared stories and where we've been the past couple weeks. Everybody has had the same experience. You are so overwhelmed with making decisions, you just physically, mentally shut down. And like, you just don't even... People would ask me questions like, our wonderful friend Lindsay. As soon as she found out my house was in trouble, she texted me, Lindsay Larson. I love her to death. She texted me and is like, what do you need help with? I'm like, well, right now I'm just packing up my house. We weren't expecting to, but we're going to have to move everything out of here. She was down within 20 minutes, and I was a mess. She was like, should we pack up your kitchen stuff? And you guys know how much I love to cook. I love to cook. I'm like, just leave it, Lindsay. She goes, you are not thinking rationally. You love your kitchen stuff. She goes, I'm just going to pack it all up for you. You're not even making decisions. Somebody else walked in the room and asked me a question, too, and I just sort of looked at him. Yeah. And Lindsay goes, I'll just answer for you.
So we have somebody stand in place for you.
Yeah. I just literally shut down.
I just want to tie into this because so much of what comes up in body talk is when we are overwhelmed.
Yes.
We don't think clearly. And body talk, I've seen it over and over again, creates more clarity in our life. Yeah. And the thing that happens is our organs can get overwhelmed. Our liver has to process a lot of stuff. Or even the hormonal system or the brain. And so what can come up in body talk is that an individual part of you is like your adrenal glands, totally overwhelmed. Yeah. And we need to balance them and restore some sanity.
Yeah.
Just on that level.
And to bring one part back in for the whole part. The body works as one.
Yeah.
And out of that one comes all of these many things that we were talking about before, the complexity.
And another neat thing with body talk, and you mentioned kitchen, and I go to the kitchen too because
you're probably doing distance on me. You probably just picked it up. I miss my kitchen so much. I just want to cry thinking about it. I love my kitchen so much.
But you have all your things.
No.
Well, but you do. They're stored somewhere.
They're at Lindsay's house.
At least they're somewhere. So what I say, sometimes, we ask a question, so why aren't we healing if we have the ability to heal? And then if you try to remodel the kitchen, let's say you're going to do the whole kitchen, it gets totally overwhelming. So one thing that body talk does, it narrows down to one issue and highlights this issue to your brain and nervous system. Okay, we're going to start repairing this drawer. We're going to start repairing these adrenal glands. Then we can move to your brain or whatever order comes up as a priority.
And start on this kitchen sink and do those different things. The other thing that we have to remember as far as the flood is concerned, I was not in any danger myself, but after 7-8 days of sandbagging and filling sandbags and helping people, after working 3 days of moving friends out in the same way that you were, Stacy, and doing all of these things, not only was I physically tired, but I would wake up in the middle of the night and say, am I doing enough? Am I sure I'm doing enough? And if I did not have the ability to balance myself to say, that is my mind tricking me, giving myself some time to do cortices, giving myself some time to breathe, and going back to sleep.
Yeah.
So everyone is affected by this flood. We are affected because we are a community. And those who are flooding, those who are losing their homes, those who are putting up with it day after day after day of looking at their homes, even though we may not be on that. I live high up, you live up on a hill, which is really nice. We still are all affected by this.
Oh, yeah. This is going to have a huge impact on the city. Economically, through the people, this is going to be a really bad thing.
If I had known body talk in 1997 when I went up and helped for just under a month in Grand Forks to work up there, I wished I would have known it. I can look back and see the need of body talk in 1997. What that would have made a difference for people.
So if people want to call you guys and get a session, how can they book a session with you guys?
Lifeways Clinic. Lifeways Clinic is just south of Gateway Mall. Extremely easy to find on Gateway Avenue. If we look out our front window, you see the famous labels sign for the store that's in Gateway Mall. I'll give you an idea where it's at. We have the number. It is 701-751-3271. And a very easy way to do it is to go to our website,
www.bodytalkforyou.com. So just spell out Body Talk for You. Or you can email us at staff@bodytalkforyou.com.
Okay. And we also have a link on the website that you can email us directly onto there. And Lifeways will take care of any of the appointments.
Yeah,
or
they do.
if you want us to talk to you, if you have any questions. And Stacy,
what a beautiful clinic that is up there. Your guys' area and Lifeways in general, just what a great space it is. I love it.
And so that's an interesting thing, if we can just throw that in. The rainstorm on Sunday night caused some branches to fall into our drain tile.
Oh, no.
And guess what? We came Monday morning to find that the area was our room wasn't, but our reception area, our massage therapist that is there, her room was totally soaked. So we're all getting affected by it.
Yep. It's crazy.
And even people who aren't physically affected, or maybe there's a few that don't have friends and relatives, probably very few.
Yeah.
I had to come up with somebody in a session that they had looked so much forward to the summer and being on the river. Because to them, think about the winter we've had. And now summer, and there's no Samax. There's no summer as they've been used to. And it was a huge stressor for her, and we had to address it.
Today I had one come up, also flood-related, but it had to do with the fact that this woman's son is moving back to his hometown with his family, and guess what he needs to do? Rent a home.
Yeah.
There are no rentals.
There's nothing.
This is far-reaching as far as stress and trauma is concerned, as far as the flood is concerned.
Okay, so you guys are going to have to get out of here because TL, you have an appointment at 3, don't you? So let's talk about your seminars real quick. When is your next seminar, and how can they find out information about them?
You just missed ours. We had one last night. But
I got your email, but I had some summer had soccer last night.
And what we do, because there is so much going on in the world, we run these monthly.
Yeah.
And what we do is we call it our Introduction to Body Talk. We give a half an hour of expanding a little bit on what we talked about just today. And then we offer a free session to some lucky person whose name gets drawn out. And we do that out loud, visibly, if they're comfortable of doing it publicly, and explain it a little bit more. So it's an hour and a half. It's worth it. Our next one is going to be in a month. It is going to be Wednesday, July 13th.
Okay.
We will be reminding you of that.
Perfect.
As the time goes.
Where are they held at?
They're held at Lifeways. Lifeways is on Gateway Avenue, just south of Gateway Mall.
Okay. And it's also located right by Comfort Suites, between Wells Fargo and Comfort Suites.
It's pretty easy to find.
It is.
Yeah,
just be careful of the bumpy roads, because we have an underground spring running through the clinic and the road, so it is like a bomb thing has gone through there. It is. But you can get in, and the parking lot is perfect.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in, ladies, and looking forward to having you guys in next time.
We are looking forward to it, too,
Thanks
Stacy.
for having us, Stacy.
Thank you.
Anytime. And once again, if you need to call these wonderful ladies, give Lifeways a call at 751-3271. That's 751-3271. Or email them staff@bodytalkforyou.com. Get a hold of them today. Sign up. At least give it a try. Try out one session. You won't regret it, I promise you. You will thank me until you die that I sent you to Bell and Tone-Lise.